In the flickering light of a campfire deep in the Amazon jungle, a man sat writing. He was Colonel Percy Harrison Fawcett, a famous British explorer, 58 years old. The jungle wind blew gently, insects buzzed in the darkness, and Fawcett wrote with slightly trembling hands from fatigue and cold. But the words he wrote were not filled with despair. On the contrary, they carried an unusual sense of calm. He was writing to his wife, Nina Fawcett, the one who had always supported his dangerous journeys. In the letter, he mentioned they were camping at a place ominously called Dead Horse Camp. Even though their food supplies were running low and the path ahead was becoming more and more dangerous, he reassured her. "You don't need to worry. There's nothing to be afraid of, not even failure." But sometimes, it's the very people who insist there's nothing to fear, who are facing the most terrifying thing of all. The next morning, May 30th, 1925, Percy Fawcett, his son Jack, and their companion Raleigh Ramel ventured deeper into the Brazilian jungle and were never seen again. No further message ever arrived, and no one knows exactly what happened after that. From one peaceful letter began the most mysterious disappearance of the 20th century. And to this day, nearly 100 years later, the world is still searching for the answer. The question isn't, did he die? But rather, what did Fawcett find that even death couldn't tell the story of? The dream of a lost city. To understand why Fawcett was willing to leave everything behind, his fame, his safety, even his family, to plunge into the dangerous Amazon jungle, we have to go back many years to the early days of the 20th century. At that time, the Amazon was still a mystery to the world. The maps were blank. Very few Westerners had ever survived venturing deep inside. And yet, stories had circulated for centuries. The Spanish once spoke of El Dorado, a golden city hidden deep in the jungle where kings bathed in gold dust and rivers shimmered with light. No one had ever found El Dorado, but its allure never faded. Fawcett, a military officer and geographer, first arrived in South America in 1906. He began a years-long journey mapping uncharted regions in Brazil, Bolivia, and Peru. He faced wild beasts, malaria, swamps, and native tribes, but every time he returned, the pull of the jungle grew stronger. What truly changed his life was when he read an ancient document called Manuscript 512, stored in Brazil's National Library. The manuscript described a lost city deep in the jungle, with massive stone walls, Greek-like architecture, stone columns, statues of deities, and strange inscriptions. It resembled nothing ever recorded in South American history. Fawcett believed that the city wasn't just real. It was proof of an advanced civilization that had been buried by time and nature. He called this place the City of Z. Z, the final letter of the alphabet, a symbol of his ultimate goal. Z wasn't just a name, it was destiny, the end of the map, and the beginning of a journey with no way back. Faith in the face of doubt. When Percy Fawcett publicly shared his belief in an ancient city, with Greek-like architecture, stone pyramids, supernatural lights, and a lost civilization hidden deep in the Amazon, he wasn't met with applause. He was laughed at. At the time, archaeologists viewed Amazonian tribes as primitive, scattered communities, incapable of complex organization like city-states. The idea of an advanced civilization in the jungle, possibly even connected to Atlantis, was dismissed as fantasy. Fawcett was called a dreamer. Some newspapers even wrote bluntly, "The city of Z is where imagination goes to starve." But he didn't back down. Instead, the skepticism became fuel. In his journal, he wrote, "Dismissal from those who've never left their desks won't shake me. I've seen things they're too afraid to believe." Some beliefs are too big to fit inside reason. They must be lived, walked, and paid for with your life. He poured his savings into the mission, sold off property, and gathered support from nobles, newspapers, even academic institutions. His goal wasn't just to explore, but to prove that the history we're taught isn't always the full truth. He prepared thoroughly, from maps and ancient texts to training in native diplomacy, jungle survival, and smoke signals for emergencies. But deep down, he knew entering that jungle might mean never coming back. But there are journeys where not coming back is the greatest proof that you truly arrived. Into the jungle with no way back. On April 20th, 1925, 3 men set out on a fateful expedition. Percy Fawcett, now 58 years old, brought with him his son, Jack Fawcett, just 22, and Jack's close friend, Raleigh Ramel. The 3 departed from Cuiabá, a small town in Brazil, and pushed deep into the forests of Mato Grosso, carrying hope, experience, and an unshakable belief that the city of Zed was waiting for them. They didn't take a large team. Fawcett deliberately kept the group small to avoid conflict with native tribes. Their gear was minimal: a few horses, tents, dry food, guns, a compass, notebooks, and a faith that wouldn't break. The early days went smoothly. They crossed rivers, passed scattered villages, and even received help from a few locals. But the deeper they went, the more brutal the Amazon became. Insects bit through the night. Relentless rains soaked all their supplies. Trails disappeared. Horses collapsed from exhaustion. Eventually, the 3 men had to carry their gear on their backs, dragging heavy steps through a maze-like jungle. And yet, strangely, the deeper they went, the calmer Fawcett became, as if he wasn't afraid, but finally coming home. After nearly a month, they reached a place with a haunting name, Dead Horse Camp, where Fawcett had once been forced to kill a horse on a previous journey. There, he wrote his final letter to his wife. In it, he still held firm to his belief that all is well and we are making good progress. And that was the last the world ever heard from Percy Fawcett. Beyond Dead Horse Camp, they stepped into a part of the forest with no names on any map, no trail markers, and no person known to have ever returned to tell the tale. And then, they vanished. No more letters, no more signs, not even the sound of a gunshot or a trace of a campsite. They walked into a part of the jungle whose reality can never be confirmed unless someone comes back alive to speak of it. The ones who searched for the missing. When Percy Fawcett and his 2 companions vanished, the outside world began to feel a growing sense of fear. Month after month passed, no news, no signs. His family and fellow explorers launched the first search missions. Multiple expeditions were sent from Brazil, the UK, and even other European countries. But the Amazon jungle wasn't just vast, it was ruthless to anyone unfamiliar with its ways. In 1928, an American pilot named George Martyr accidentally came across some items believed to belong to Fawcett in a native village. The locals claimed that the 2 younger men had been killed by a tribe called the Sewers, while Fawcett had been spared. But the story lacked proof. No physical evidence, no second witness. Fawcett's family refused to believe it. So if Fawcett survived, where did he go? And if he died, where were their bodies, lost in a jungle too deep for anyone to dare step into? In 1932, a Swiss hunter claimed to have seen a British colonel with silver hair, thin and frail, held captive in a distant village. The news shook international media, but upon verification, the details didn't match. His age, height, and the geography didn't align. A compass bearing Fawcett's name from 1913 was also found, but no one could say who had owned it last. Subsequent expeditions ventured into the jungle hoping to find clues, but most failed. Some explorers died from disease, starvation, or simply got lost. The deeper they went, the more the Amazon seemed to swallow everyone, leaving no verifiable trace behind. The more people searched, the blurrier the truth became, and the mystery of Percy Fawcett still lies hidden in the jungle, waiting for someone brave enough to uncover it. Theories. that rose from the dark. Decades after Fawcett disappeared, countless theories emerged, some plausible, others wild, all circling the same questions. Where did he and his team go? How did they die? Or could they still be alive somewhere in the jungle? Some believe they were killed by a native tribe. According to respected historian John Hemming, Fawcett may have offended a tribe by not offering gifts or following traditional rituals. In Amazonian culture, failing to show respect could be a deadly mistake. Others, including his former companion Henry Costin, believed their deaths were due to starvation, disease, and exhaustion. The Amazon is unforgiving. One wrong step, a slip, or even a minor injury could prove fatal. Rommel had reportedly injured his leg, which could have slowed them down, drained their energy, and led to their downfall. But some theories are even stranger, that Fawcett chose to stay, merging with the tribe and becoming one with the forest, never intending to return. Other rumors were more chilling. Some claimed he became a tribal leader in a far-off village, or was kept as a prisoner, turned into a living legend that no one would ever confirm. These stories were never verified, but they were never completely ruled out either. The Amazon is vast, deep, and still holds secrets. There are also more scientific explanations. Modern researchers believe the most likely cause was death by exhaustion or illness. The terrain is brutal, the jungle thick, and access to clean water and food is limited, enough to threaten any expedition. Whatever the truth may be, the Amazon still holds the answer, and that silence has made Percy Fawcett an immortal legend. Modern signs emerge. Decades after Fawcett vanished, the story of the lost city of Z continued to haunt the minds of archaeologists and explorers. With technological advancements, especially LiDAR, a type of aerial laser scanning, scientists could finally see through the thick canopy of the Amazon rainforest. And then, something miraculous appeared. Beneath the layers of trees were clear signs of large settlements, plazas, roads, and even pyramid-shaped mounds made of earth. These discoveries proved that the Amazon was once home to complex civilizations, completely overturning the old belief that the jungle was only inhabited by scattered small tribes. Fawcett may not have found the exact location of the city of Z, but his belief that a grand civilization once thrived in the Amazon was not wrong. These findings also raise a deeper question. If such civilizations once existed, what other mysteries are still buried beneath the forest floor? And are we, modern people, ready to face truths that nature has hidden for centuries? Perhaps Percy Fawcett wasn't insane. Perhaps he was simply ahead of his time, seeing something others weren't ready to believe. The conclusion of the city of Z. Today, when people speak of Percy Fawcett, they don't just remember a lost explorer. They see a symbol of unwavering determination and limitless curiosity. His disappearance became legend, reminding us that exploration isn't only about treasure or fame, but about pursuing truth, no matter the risk. Even though the city of Z has yet to be found, Fawcett's story teaches us that some dreams aren't meant to be seen with the eyes, but lived through the heart. His journeys, his challenges, and his bold choices created a living legend, one that continues to inspire generations of explorers, archaeologists, and lovers of history. And sometimes, it's those who never return, who actually reached where they were meant to be, proving the true worth of belief. Fawcett left behind no bones, but he left behind an invisible legacy, a question buried in the jungle, a truth yet to be uncovered, and a reminder of the power of faith and perseverance. His story reminds us that even when the outcome is uncertain, the journey of discovery is always worth it.